Hi everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel 1% Will. Another video today. Today we're talking about AI and what makes me a little upset about AI. So I graduated college. I work in tech. I work with software, and that is one of the jobs that people said AI would replace. Here I am. I've been working for a little over 2 months. I haven't been replaced yet. That's all fine and good. But what really makes me mad is the people who say that AI will replace me. Now, and at the current state of AI, I don't think so. I use AI code tools and models to help me with my software engineering, with my coding at work, with my personal projects, and they are really not all they're hyped up to be. I see kind of, two different sides to the coin. There's so many people that are super bullish on AI. They're like, hey, my team uses AI. We ship 10,000 lines of code a day. And then there's other people saying AI can't even do the work that a freshman college student in their intro to computer science class can do. And I'm a little bit in the middle. Definitely AI in its current state is not going to replace me. I use it as a tool and I have to handhold it a lot of the way. I think I'm a pretty good prompt engineer, and for some little use cases, AI is helpful. But I think about it this way. If AI were to replace a software engineer, if a product manager, engineering manager, whoever, went to the AI and gave the AI the same instructions as the human software engineer, it would not be able to come close. It would just generate slop. It wouldn't know what's going on. It wouldn't know all of the context, all of the, organizational knowledge that the software engineer has that allows them to do their job well. It just can't do it. And I don't think AI will ever be able to really replace software engineers' jobs. Maybe it could do a lot of the work that a junior engineer can do, but it won't replace software engineering, period. And there's a couple reasons why. First of all, it's just not getting good fast enough. I love when people say this is the worst that AI will ever be. It's only going to get better from here. Yeah, sure it is. Just like now, this is the worst video games will ever be. They'll only get better from here. Okay, sure. If you're using video games as an analogy, look at the graphics of video games now, then look at them 10 years ago. They're pretty similar. I think I can still play Fortnite on a PlayStation 4 from 10 years ago, and it looks exactly the same as Fortnite on a PlayStation 5. There are diminishing marginal returns in video games graphics and performance. Now, if you go back to 30 years ago in video games, yeah, it's going to be a big difference. There's a lot more polygons making the graphics better. Maybe the games are just bigger, cooler. They have more cool features, but there's diminishing marginal returns. And that's the same in AI. At the beginning of AI, there were leaps and bounds between models that would come out. The difference between GPT 2 and 3 was a lot greater than 3 and 4, and then recently 4 and 5. So there's diminishing marginal returns, and as a novice in AI that just knows a little bit about it, I think part of it is compute. That's why NVIDIA stock is so crazy, because everyone needs this compute power because they think more is more powerful, more is better. So if they can just get more power to train their models and, run all the reasoning and all the parameters, it'll be better. And yeah, maybe so, but if you're a 100-pound person and you can bench 200 pounds, that doesn't mean if you were 200 pounds, you could bench 400 pounds. There's still diminishing marginal returns, and you can't just keep adding more to make it better. And secondly, it's the data. I think, AI, I've heard that the people training AI, they just need more data. They need more data to train it on, to give it better context so it knows more, especially with software engineering. Like, you can train it on a lot of code, but a lot of companies that, have enterprise code bases don't want the AI to be trained on their proprietary code. So it's lacking that enterprise code training data. And there's also a lot of different programming languages, and some of them are just not that widely used. So the AI can't be well trained on them, so it won't be very helpful. And also now, a lot of the code that's being put out there is AI generated. So if you generate code with AI and then it gets put back in the training cycle, the AI will become biased and it'll just become worse at generating code, at doing software engineering. So I don't think AI is really going to get good enough in this current, what we know as AI, as the LLMs. It will just not get to a point. It's fundamentally not going to be able to do the same job as a software engineer. Now, maybe if there's new science discovered that creates General intelligence maybe, but right now the AI are basically statistical, probability models that are auto-completing what you think they want you to. They can't be deterministic. They can't say for sure, yes, this is correct, no, this is false. They'll contradict themselves. They have bias. They really just can't steal your job like that. But in general, AI can be used to make you productive. Like, it can definitely help me at my job, generate some code and, get me started. Even if it generates a lot of boilerplate code that I then go in and manually fix or change to make it fit exactly what I need it to, it can still be helpful and, help be a little more productive. But what really irks me is people saying AI will replace jobs or make people more productive. The problem I have with that is, why is AI good then? People need jobs. They need money to pay for things. If AI is going to replace their jobs or just make them more productive so that they have to do more work to stay competitive in this job market, why is that a good thing for workers? Hint, it's not. The people that are pushing AI, the people that want AI adoption are the CEOs, the C-suite level executives, and they want AI to improve their bottom line. If they can lay off parts of their workforce and replace it with AI, if the tokens are cheap enough to do the work, then they will do it just to save money. Workers do not want AI because in the whole history of work and labor, as people have gotten more productive, which workers have gotten much, much more productive, over the past century or even the past recent decades, we are still working 40 hours a week. We are still earning basically the same wages, while all the profits, all the wealth that the wage is generating is going to the people at the top, the people that own the means of production, the capitalists, the owners, the already wealthy people who own the businesses. So AI is just following in this pattern of another transfer of wealth from laborers and the working class up to the higher ups. And what's different now is it's not just, factory workers being replaced by automation and or being offshored and not having jobs. These are educated, college graduates that are losing their jobs in information and knowledge work to AI. So this is a little bit different than the past. It's different from when cars replaced horses, because I'm sure it wasn't that hard to, have a horse and drive people around, but it is hard to go to school and learn software engineering, get a job. And maybe in the future it's, if it replaces doctors or lawyers, those are whole advanced degrees that take people years or decades of school and training, and with the promise of high pay at the end. But if AI can sloppily do that or make them more productive, we don't need as many, that really fundamentally changes the way of life and, what the people are promised as living in America or promised as going to college. There's a crazy stat out right now that the unemployment rate for college educated and non-college educated, I think 18 to 24-year-old men, is the same. So having a college degree does not give you an advantage in finding employment. And this could be for a lot of reasons. I'm sure AI has something to do with it, but that's part of the problem. If you keep promising people, hey, go to school, you'll get a job, it'll be good paying, you can raise a family. And if that's just not true, because now all of a sudden, the AI is taking your job, it's replacing you, or instead of having to hire, a junior software engineer like myself, we can just have a senior engineer and an army of AI agents doing all the work. We don't need any juniors. That's a problem, because how are you going to get a senior engineer without juniors? And what are all those young people going to do? That's a twofold issue. This is really profit seeking in the current day, and it's not very, future focused or looking forward, even a few years into the future. It's really so short term and narrow, close minded. Like, that is not a reality that I want to happen, but I worry that it's where we're heading. And beyond just AI, replacing jobs, making life worse for people, making it harder to get by, harder to survive, it pollutes the environment, uses up a lot of power that the U.S. strictly doesn't have. If we wanted to power AI, we'd be investing in green energy, but we're not. And it's making people dumber. Studies are already coming out that people that use AI a lot they're not having to use their brain in the same way. Like, I cannot imagine being in middle school or high school having to write essays when I knew ChatGPT was a thing. Like, that is just can really hinder your education, really hinder your ability to think and, develop your own thoughts, and goes into all the things about AI creating bias. If the whole world is asking the AI for their questions, they're going to get the same or similar answers from the AI. There just won't be any, different thoughts or no minority opinions that are present current day. And that's kind of an offshoot, I think, of a trend that social media is following, that, the tech companies, they just want your attention. Like you are the commodity, you're what they're selling is your attention. And it's making us worse off. What really boggles me is when people laud AI and they're like, hey, this is so great, AI's the next big thing, but nobody's asking, how is AI going to make our lives better? They're just focused on, AI is going to be able to code an entire app start to finish with just, prompting it in English, or, you can have an AI agent do all this for you, or, then we're going to put AIs in robots and they'll do work around your house and they'll only cost $20,000. But nobody's asking, do people want this? Is it going to make people's lives materially better? I think the answer for both of those questions, or at least one, is no. People don't want it, and it's not going to make their lives better. And if they do want it, it's probably because they don't realize what it's going to do to their lives. The whole economy is based on consumption, and people consume things with money from their jobs and a little bit of debt. If they don't have jobs, how are they going to buy things? How is the economy going to keep running? And that's what I mean by it's short-sighted, by all the executives who are billionaires because of all the consumers using their products, giving their attention to their products, their social media. If those people don't have jobs, they don't have money, they don't have, their weekends of free time to spend that money, then where is the money the billionaires have going to come from? It doesn't make sense, and I worry it's just not a sustainable future and not a better future than where we are now. So I really think we should be cautious about AI. I don't think it's terrible and it shouldn't exist. It already exists. It's too late. I think we just need to be very focused and purposeful in how we're using, how we're developing it, and why. I think it should be used as a tool for good, for the good of humanity, for the good of people. And right now, the way we're going just does not seem like we're going down that path. So as myself, AI, we'll see what happens. I hope the bubble bursts just so I can buy some stocks for cheap and I keep having my job as a software. I don't want to get replaced. I want to keep being an engineer, keep working in tech. And for the time being, I'm just going to try to keep learning, when I can, choose not to use AI, read books, develop skills, be a person as much as I can, because that's what AI can't and will never be, is a real person. So I'm going to focus on that. Keep trucking along. Let me know what you think about AI in the comments. Do you use it a lot? Do you use it at work? Are you worried about it replacing your job? I'm curious to see what kind of jobs you think it might replace. And if you like the video, please, like I said, comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. More videos like this coming soon. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.